Okay. So in your book, you talk about motivational interviewing. Can you explain what motivational interviewing is and how trainers can use it with their clients?
Motivational interviewing is a process that was created by Stephen Rolnick and William Miller. And what this does is it works on increasing intrinsic motivation whilst decreasing the levels of ambivalence that stop people from making the changes that they want. It is extremely individual-centered, and it deals with questions, and it deals with reflective listening. It deals with helping people identify the gaps between where they are and where they want to be. And rather than telling somebody what to do or what they lack, you lead them in a direction where they come to their own resolution of their problems, and or I guess their own systematic implementation of self-directed solutions. Now, this is so powerful. Measured against many other forms of therapy, motivational interviewing has the lowest level of recidivism long-term, even like 6 months out. And what I mean by recidivism is stuff happens. You know, you're moving towards your goal. Things are going to come up that are not planned, and things are going to come up that derail you. And how you respond to that relapse determines whether or not you're going to get back on track as someone who's a little bit wiser, maybe a little bit more determined, or whether you're going to become self-defeated, attach a universal quantifier to that. And universal quantifier is this often erroneous but not helpful global belief. And we see this as, I always screw this up, or I never get this right. And people start to talk about themselves in absolutes. And what you see is fatalistic, self-defeating, self-doubting type of conversation. So rather than eliciting change talk, what you see is resistance talk. And resistance talk is what keeps people stuck in the muck, so to speak.
Yeah, because this ambivalence is like a state from which people don't want to change. Or how should...
Well, ambivalence is kind of more like a conflict. I'll give you an example where I've been, let's say, hypothetically, not me. I've not been married. So divorce for me would be a really unusual situation. However, let's say I'm married and I got divorced a year ago. And, you know, I was very, very depressed about the divorce. And we had the same circle of friends. Nobody wanted to take sides. So what happened was our friends stayed away from us and I had to go out and make new friends. Now, I've not got a wife and I don't get to see my kids as often as I want. So it's really lonely. It's really heartbreaking. But I have made some new friends. I made some new friends down at the pub. Now, because I've been spending a lot of time down at the pub, I've gained quite a bit of weight. And I want to get back on the dating scene. You know, it's been a year. I've gone through my heartbreak, and I want to start the healing process. So I go to a gym, and I start getting in shape. I want more energy. You know, I'm losing my hair. There's not much we can do about that. I'm not going to wear some crazy wig. Let's not get ridiculous. However, as I'm starting to get in shape, I have to start making sacrifices, meaning I have to stop going to the pub, which means I don't get around my friends. And my whole reason for getting in shape is greater socialization. You know, being able to connect with people, maybe intimately, maybe romantically, but overall it's connection. And I find myself getting lonely as I start going to the gym. So yes, I want something out of the gym and I feel better about myself when I go to the gym, but going to the gym also robs me of a value that is equally important and immediately might even be a higher level value because it is so connected to my new identity that I've been starting to form. And it is a reprieve from the pain I feel when I am kind of ostracized from my, ex-wife and my children. So that's kind of ambivalence. And if I don't resolve that, and there are tools to resolve that, like a balanced scorecard, you could use things where, or a decisional balance sheet would do that. And these are tools we talk about in PTaGlobal. I think Paul Taylor talks about that, to help you start to resolve ambivalence, because until you resolve ambivalence, what doesn't work is sacrificing a higher level value, love, connection, family, career, for a lower level value, like getting in shape and feeling better, looking sexy, or some adverse, look better naked. And a lot of times we say, well, that's a lack of willpower, that's a lack of discipline, and we push people. You know, you got to want it bad enough. You know, you've either got to increase your motivation or decrease the magnitude of your goals. One, we don't have the right to talk to our clients like that. Number two, really lacking empathy. How dare you? Number three, that is what is called an attribution error. And me, Rodney, and Roy, we talk about that in the book, where I'm making assumptions based on my own intentions and my own intrinsic mental model, but I don't really have the information about this person, what they believe, where they come from, what their true motives are, to make an assessment. So I'm jumping to a conclusion that I have no right to jump to based on erroneous information in the first place. So you know, I think, you know, when you employ tools like motivational interviewing, it stops you from doing that. When you have a client-centered approach, it stops you from doing that. And a lot of times trainers get nervous about that because we feel that we are giving up the control. We're not. We become so much more effective in getting adherence and getting results from people, because when your behaviors are aligned with something you value and you're aware of it, you're clear in your mind, you know exactly how this behavior aligns with your highest value. Things like passion, willpower, motivation, discipline, they occur automatically. I'll give you an example. It takes a lot of time, energy, and money, an excessive amount of time, energy, and money often, to go on holiday. Yet people go on holiday. They make the sacrifices. They make the calls. They organize. They make arrangements. They book the hotels. They book the flights. They take time off from work. They get their projects done early so they can go. They do whatever it takes. And at the end of this holiday, you don't have more money. Well, a lot of times you've got significantly less. You know, it's not like you win an award. Wow, well, some people, the way they go on holiday, they should win an award. However, typically you don't get that. You know, you don't come back from holiday married, although I'm sure that happens sometimes as well. You're going because it feels good and you value the experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
So why is it that people will do anything to avoid going to the gym, but they will do anything to go on holiday, which is a lot more difficult than showing up and training for an hour today? Mm-hmm. And I think it's because what they value, they associate pleasure to the holiday, so it's worth the sacrifice. They associate pain. And a lot of times that level of ambivalence, if you're not sure it's going to pay off, or if I might get this but have to sacrifice something else, that is enough to derail me. And rather than giving people a lecture or a motivational speech, extracting from them what their values are and how each step of the process connects those values and how far they're willing to go today without demanding a commitment from them that they did not autonomously choose for themselves. These things are very destructive.
Yeah.